Hello YouTubers, Troz here, back with some more Minecraft Minecart stations. This is kind of a follow-up to my previous video where I showed off a 225 track minecart station. This video I basically use simpler versions and better versions of that station for various sizes of minecart stations. So let's get into it right away. This is about the simplest version of that station you can get. It has 15 destinations, all right here. Or these are tracks out and in. And you have a single lectern with one destination per page, and if on page 3 you'll come out the third track here, and similar to the larger station I showed off last time, there's a lockout circuit, so while you're leaving, this light turns on and locks out, so if anyone flips the pages they won't change where you're going. It won't until the light goes out, which is after the station resets, which is only about 10 seconds. It won't take a reading from the lectern. So you just get on here, minecart automatically pops out, just get in. And there you go, you come out the third track. You can have that go wherever you want. That was the station resetting. It basically pushes that track that was moved back in, and then, oops. For coming in, you can just come in. You're automatically ejected here. The minecart is automatically picked up and put back into this chest here to be reused. This is done a little more efficiently than I did last time. Basically, instead of having a big line of hoppers, I actually use the track to get the cart closer, so we only have, I think it's 4 hoppers total in the whole build. Yeah, everything's color-coded like last time. Orange is the signal coming from the lectern. This magenta here is coming from this detector rail, which detects you leaving and takes a sample from the lectern and basically triggers the pushing out of the correct rail. White is the lockout circuit. Pink is the minecart collection and dispensing circuit. The dark purple down here is the reset circuit, along with basically all the things here, and then finally the gray, dark gray, is the reset for the lockout circuit. And it's relatively simple to build. The size is actually 17 by, I think it's even less than 13, and 32 long, so it does fit into a single structure block. Why I say it's 17 is there's actually a space here. And this is just basically I copied it off of the original one and made modifications, so that turned out to be slightly narrower. Yeah, so that's this simple station. This world will be downloadable in the description. Let's go on to, well, that's the small one. Let's go on to the big one. This is my new 225 track station. Last time I showed off this station, which sloped tracks, but it can only do them in pairs. So I had to space out the tracks a bit. And I figured out a new way to do this without moving the tracks. instead of moving the tracks, why don't we move the minecart? So we'll have the minecart falling down. Here's a good example. And then there's a tripwire, and this is the one that's set up. When the minecart hits the tripwire, the piston extends and pushes the minecart out. And then we can enable or disable individual rows. So there's 15 rows there, 8 facing the one side, 7 facing the other side. We can do the same with this setup. Here was basically that example. So we have like one facing this way, next row facing this way, and then we have a bottom row that just, if you've made it past the previous 14, you just land on the slope and go this way. Obviously these aren't powered, but that was just a test setup basically. And this is the final version. It's basically the same height as the previous one, but it's not as long because we only need one space. Basically, you can get up to 12 slime blocks in a row, but we have 15, so we need a gap, and I put the gap basically in the middle. So we have 8 and 7, and luckily, tripwires, well, they can go further than that. They can. They used to be able to go 18, and now I think they can go 40 from what I read. But I just need 16 in this case. So it's plenty, even if it was still the old. So this uses 2 lecterns, like the previous one over there. If you saw that video, basically the first one, both of them will have 15 entries per page. Unfortunately, there's 14 rows, so you have to double up. But let's say I wanted to go to the cow farm. So I leave this on the first page that says cow farm, and then I go over here, and since cow farm had 6, I go to 6th page, which says cow farm 1, meaning hey, that's the stuff from page 1. Obviously, the stuff on page 2 would be in row, the slot 2 here every time. Stuff from page 3 would be in slot 3 every time. Stuff from page 4 would be in slot 4 every time. I just didn't fill out the book fully because I couldn't make up 225 different things, different places to go. But anyway, once those 2 are set, you step on the pressure plate. In fact, this is the exact same station layout as down there. It's just I don't have as many blocks, just kind of the minimal necessary. So it's a little easier to look around at all the workings of how this works. This has an additional light blue line, redstone circuit, which basically comes down and this is the page that is, well, let me, if I actually send a card out. Oh, that's one thing I didn't mention. Both of these stations also have empty cart detection, so the empty cart won't ever be leaving, it gets recollected. Anyway, so now that we were on page 6 and it's been set up, you'll notice, oh, we were on page 1, that's right. It's the first book is the blue one. So if I set this to like page 4 and just trigger a minecart that gets the right reading, you will see layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4 is depowered, and that's what will then allow this tripwire to activate. But like if I go to a different level, if I go into the tripwire, nothing happens because this piston cuts off the signal going to that piston. And yeah, so only one of the layers is depowered at a time, depending on what page of the book you select, and that signal is sent down this light blue here. And yeah, a bit of a tricky circuit, but So that's 14 layers, and then the last layer will drop all the way through, land on these slopes, and come out this way. And that's how this one works. So that's 15. It's a decent size, but it may be small from certain servers. This is 225. Probably more than most servers need, but it was something neat I could do with 2 lecterns. Over here we have 2 middle of the road. Both of these have 60 tracks leaving out of them. And they have 1 lectern, but each has 4 books. And I sort of had this idea, and Mumbo Jumbo also did a similar video, so not that I stole his idea, but I improved upon what he did. But he basically had 4 different books. I happen to have the same book, but in reality they'd be 4 different books. You'd actually have a sign above each this would be like farms book, player bases book, notable places book, other stops book, and you'd have the 4 books titled differently. And so if you want a destination in this book, you flip to the page that it's on, say done, step on the pressure plate, get in the cart, and you go. If you want a different destination, you would take the book, you put the book here. Well, let me get that back for a sec. You then take this book out and put it on the lectern. And why are we still digging? Oh, that was right. Not sure what happened there. It's supposed to detect that only one book, one of these is empty. So that should make it ding again in a second. But then if I remove this one, there we go. It's working now. I'm wondering, these actually can get in a bad state if they've never been, if you don't initialize them once, and maybe I didn't initialize this one once. So if I put this back, notice that bottom line blinked, and then if I take this one, that top line should blink, and it's like, oh, okay, you're good. Because basically I'm keeping a count here. There's 3 books in place and 1 removed. So if I remove another one of these shovels gets moved over, and then we detect, hey, there's 2 shovels in there, it should only be 1. The same thing, if all the shovels get removed, we also detect that. But basically, depending on which book is removed, we know we have a different set of 15. And So this is basically 4 copies of that 15 track, but it's done so we don't really have 4 copies of it. We got only, well, this had one set of 15 torches and pistons. Here we have 2 sets of pistons running off 1 set of torches, so we really only have 2 copies, and then everything is just mirrored left and right. And then, depending on which book you know, 2 of the books will turn on this blue line. You know, basically this one and this one, if the oh I missed the block. I rewired this actually a few times, and when I put this in, is there a different way to power that? If I just but that's now crossing with that. I ran out of space, basically. I made this too tight. I'll fix this. It may, you know, this is the easiest fix for now. You should have plenty of speed anyway. And then we can just put this back here. There we go. That's correct. Now, so if you choose this, neither the blue or the brown get turned on. If you choose this one, only the blue gets turned on. If you choose this one, only the brown gets turned on. If you choose this book, both the blue and the brown get turned on. The blue one controls whether you go on the right side here or go over to the left side. Note if I break that, now this is turned. The brown one affects whether the torch is lit up in the first half or the second half. So if I break that, you see this torch went out, and now the first torch on the second half lit up. So, so we have like 15, a small gap, and then 15. This is the second half, and then, like I said, it's on the left and the right. So you just let's turn the let's pretend we take this one. So the blue is on, but the brown is off. So we go into the second half. So watch, I'll put this there, take that out, and if you do it quickly enough, the bell doesn't ring. It gives you like a 10 seconds to move. And if you notice now, the torch down this second half is now lit, and we should be coming down the right side here. So let's get in. And there you go, that worked. And then of course, if we we do this one. No, let's do this one. Put this back. The only thing with this circuit is you have to like wait a second, just so that. Oh, that's what's wrong. I noticed this on the other one. I thought it was a failure copy. That's what I got wrong. The detector for removal of, or the putting back of this one doesn't work. That's why it got set off, because it was missing this block. This wire wasn't long enough, because this block gets powered, that powers this line, which puts it back, and that's what happened. I noticed it for that one over there, and I thought it just copied wrong. Anyway, I should now go on this side all the way back, and we'll just make sure we have enough power there. Oh yeah, plenty of speed. And then everything will reset. There you go. That gives you plenty of time to get out before it resets. We'll come back in. Let's yeah, it doesn't matter which lane we do, but again, the minecart is automatically collected, and this one, the chest is over here. This does not have a lockout circuit, but other than that, you know, works the same as the others. And then, if you think this one is too long, I took the 225 version, cut it down so that there's only 4 exits, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's the same book detector thing, but now instead of now we basically get a individual signal out of 3 of these. You know, this was using sort of a binary code for 2 different things, but this, like, if this one is selected, you know, we enable the bottom pusher. If this one is selected, we enable the middle pusher. If this one is selected, we enable the top pusher. And then if this one is selected, we don't enable any of the pushers, and you fall all the way down through the bottom and then come out here. This one I spread out too much after having some space issues there, as you saw with that blue line. I didn't even realize that I had broken. This is way spaced out, and it has a half lockout feature, in that it will remember, like, turning this won't affect your destination, but if someone swaps the books real quick, that could affect your destination. Again, it's the same chest here. You might have apparently you don't have too many minecarts in it. Oh, there we go. We're starting to fill up. Same chests collection. This is a little awkward. I needed a little more space to fit everything in. So for this one, you gotta reach over the piston. Oh, and yeah, that's how the bumper works. I didn't actually show that over there. But yeah, you just get bumped out. You don't feel a thing. Yeah, it works like normal. And then, again, any one of these you can go in on, and you'll be dropped down. And then come up and in. One thing you may have noted in this one is, as you come in, you manage to activate the outgoing trigger again. If you don't want that, instead of coming up, yeah, you can come over and then just come into the side here, like I am doing here. To get this track to turn is a little tricky. When you put it down at first, it's obviously going to be straight, but if you take, you get yourself a lever, and we stick it on this block, and then we turn, we depower. Yeah. Once it turns this way, this one gets turned, and then you just have to power the block again. It turns the other way, but this one will remain as long as it's not updated. And there you go. So you can come up and turn right in here, and then thereby bypassing the trigger to switch the tracks over here. Yeah, so that's these 4 stations. All of them are intended, to be covered, at least this area, because when these pistons move, that causes a lot of skylight updates. So if this is completely enclosed, and also you fill over here, I just have it open so you can see the mechanism of how it works. That would prevent the light updates and a lot of the lag that moving all these blocks at once does cause. It's not too bad. I'll trigger this one. I have a test button over here. You can see I'm getting about 20 milliseconds per tick right now. And it went up to maybe 30. 30, 32, but it's just for a fraction of a second. There's just a few updates, and I try to get this finished as quickly as possible. So, that's these new minecart stations. Improved, especially the 225 one is now smaller. It's 32 long instead of it was probably 45, 46. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's definitely smaller and easier to build now. So, just like to say thanks for watching, and hope you find this useful. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions or questions or anything like that, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.